Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Bangtail Whiskey and Pacific Calls. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
And real quick, before we get started, if you have not heard, Mr. Trevor Austin's dad, Bill, passed away over the weekend, so our thoughts and prayers are with all of those at Pacific Calls. They're a great group of guys. Through this podcast, they have they become very, very close to us, and, you know, we vacation with Trevor and his wife, and it was too early for sure. So our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we hope that you would keep them in your thoughts and prayers. So anyway, you're all flustered now.
I'm worked up this morning. With us today, I didn't even ask you what town you're in, Ryan.
Just the great state of Wisconsin.
Chettahead.
Yeah.
Boston accent.
So I live in the town of Brillion, Wisconsin.
And where is that exactly?
From Green Bay, because that's the only town that I know of.
Yep, so literally 20, 25 minutes straight south.
Oh, you're by the Bean Snapper.
I think so.
Strip club.
Maybe. Yep, there's many of them.
Oh, there's more than one Bean Snapper?
I think there might be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the only thing I know is before you get to the Green Bay, there's big billboards, come to the Bean Snapper. And I thought that is the coolest name for a strip club I've ever seen in my life. Never been there.
Yep. You got to go to Oval Office. That's even better.
I haven't been to a strip club in 30 years probably. I'd rather waste my money at a casino.
It is hotter than Satan's breath in here already.
It's not that hot.
I am burning up.
It is. We are hitting triple digits. It was 111 yesterday.
Yeah.
All-time record for May, whatever the hell it is.
8th.
And today it's going to be 110 again. We don't have a chance of rain nowhere. I was telling Ryan before, it looks like the Serengeti here. It's dry, grass is brown everywhere, stock market's crashing, and it's fucking Monday. What a week to start. So, Ryan.
What a week. Hey, before we get started, do you pay attention to the Packers?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about their whole situation? Devontae leaving. Do you like the draft pick?
Yeah. You know, I'm kind of an indifferent Packer fan. I support the organization, and I don't get wrapped around the axles too much. I think a lot of people spend or they invest too much time into this kind of stuff, and it's. I understand that you have your desires, but at the same time, though, you also don't run a multi-million-dollar organization. So, and they've been doing this a lot longer. So, I mean, I love everything about the draft this year. I'm always very optimistic, and I think that's probably our downfall as Packer fans is that we're always overly optimistic about everything. And I've actually met Aaron Rodgers, and I've actually hung out with him for half a day, and a bunch of other Packer fans. And he's actually an incredible human. We had a really good philosophical conversation about life and mental health. He's actually a really nice dude. So is Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones. So great organization, and I love going to games.
How did you get to meet all these people? Was this something through like a veterans program?
Yeah. So they coordinated. It was called Huddle for Heroes, and it was a local thing for local veteran leaders. And we had no idea what the event was going to be. We just knew that there was going to be some Packers. So usually when you go to something like that, you're thinking of like third string injured reserve or like some alumni that you've never even.
There's Jeff Stanfield. Who the fuck's he?
Hey, I played on the Packers in 1978. Oh, cool, man. That's all. I wasn't even born. But we showed up, and there's Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari, Balaga, Jeremy Graham when he was here, just a handful of players, Danny Vitale. We walk in and we just get to hang out with them, play video games at this place. So hung out with them was awesome.
Really? That is badass.
Yeah,
and they
don't,
cool. and they just half of their day, they're just like, we're just going to fucking hang out with these people.
Yeah, so it was November 5th, 2019. And I remember the date because that was actually the 10th anniversary of my buddy Aaron that died in Afghanistan. So I actually carry his picture with me every day on November 5th and his birthday, April 12th. And so it was the 10th anniversary of my buddy Aaron dying. And I actually have a picture of me with Aaron Rodgers holding the picture of my buddy Aaron. And I refer to it as the day that Aaron met Aaron. And I sent that picture to his family. And I told him that I had something going on today, but I didn't know what it was. And I sent that picture of Aaron Rodgers holding the picture of my friend Aaron. And it became a pretty significant piece of history, personal history for me. sharing that story of Aaron to Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones.
So Aaron Rodgers was a very nice man, is what you're saying. See, that's good because people don't ever hear that stuff. All they hear is the diva part, of it and stuff. But so he's a good person. Then that makes me feel proud for him.
He shared a really personal story about his grandfather that was in World War II that was shot down, and I have the video of him talking about his grandfather. Obviously, this all happened before he was born. But if you ever watch Pat McAfee with Aaron Rodgers, the way that he talks to Pat McAfee and those guys, that's literally how he talks. He talked to me and everybody else. And it was he's a very smart, intelligent, quick-witted, and he loves good sense of humor and sarcasm. And it was like, okay, well, my sarcasm is my hug. So that's how I hug people, is with sarcasm.
And I think that is why so many people have a hard time. They don't know how to take Aaron Rodgers, because sarcasm is kind of a lost art in today's society with, text mess. Everything is you read what people are saying rather than you don't interact with most people don't interact with people on a one-on-one. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue. So sarcasm is kind of a lost art, and I think that might be why a lot of people don't really know how to take Aaron Rodgers, because he is sarcastic and he's so he's smart and he's sharp as a whip. And, we could go off on a tangent on that. Most people are pretty fucking dull.
I'm going to tell you right now, I consider myself to have above average IQ. Mm-hmm. I don't like stupid people. Now, I don't dislike them. Right. I just have a hard time with stupidity. Common sense stuff. Right. And guys like him, he gets it all the time. It's kind of like teaching math. Mm-hmm. I understand math, but I couldn't teach it because I don't understand why you don't fucking get it. You know what I mean? And so that's the way he is with, I'm sure, things, why can't you understand this shit? It's real simple.
He's too smart to talk to.
And so when he deals with people and they're underneath, and I shouldn't say underneath that. Elon Musk is that type of guy, I think. He understands quantum physics and nobody else does.
Right.
And people that don't get it, he's probably like, why can't you understand what the hell I'm trying to explain to you?
Right.
And I think Aaron Rodgers is that way. He's just smarter than most people asking him questions, and he don't. But I do say this much for him: if you notice, his teammates don't ever trash him.
No.
I mean, David Bakhtiari. Have you ever heard him say anything bad about him?
No, I was too busy trying to get Anna Kendrick's phone number from David because he was in Pitch Perfect.
But people don't. But he don't. So, but I'm saying Aaron Rodgers is a lot better of a teammate than media gets you to let you know, or everybody on his team would rip on him. Yeah. Nobody takes 100%. So tell us your story, because you've got an amazing story. You do a lot of things to help a lot of good people. That's it.
I like to think so. I will preface this, and I will start off warning everybody that I do believe I suffer from imposter syndrome, so I don't really think all highly of myself. And my girlfriend and a lot of my close friends kind of get pissed off with me about all that. But I don't know where to go, how to start this. So let's see. Just born and raised Wisconsin. When I was a little baby and a little younging, my mom and I lived in South America. And then, but I'm a Wisconsin boy through and through. Grew up in Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin most of my life. I grew up without a dad, never met my dad ever. So I have a younger brother. And then just kind of semi-active throughout grade school and high school. I was the most unpopular person there was. And
You're the most popular, unpopular person, right?
Yep.
Is that like being the biggest asshole in the town?
No, that was just the person you'd never invited to parties or ever do anything like ever. So, but I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I just kind of found myself like really early on. I really knew who I was. I was fascinated growing up with Monster Garage and Jesse James, and I wanted to weld, and I thought welding was going to be like the biggest part of my life. And that's what I wanted to do after high school. The military was never really on my compass. And then I realized like junior, senior year that college is super expensive and a single parent can't afford college. So I decided I have to do something for myself, and I dedicated myself to join the military. So I joined the Wisconsin Army National Guard as an infantryman in 2006, right before graduation, about a month-ish before graduation, 2 months before graduation. I went to the School for Wayward Boys at Fort Benning, Georgia, the home of the infantry, School of the Infantry, and was there for 3 months. Came home, was in my unit. It was a reconnaissance surveillance target acquisition unit. I didn't really know what that meant until I got there, and it was just awesome dudes, really, really cool leaders, just giants of men that I thought were just incredibly gifted at their job. And I absorbed that like a sponge. And that's what I did with the military. I absorbed everything. I retained things that I just still don't remember why, or I don't know why I remember everything. Then went to Iraq in 2009, in southern Iraq, Basra, Qasr. I was stationed at Camp Bucca. When I was there, I was in the theater internment facility, which is the fancy word for prison. So there was detainees. These were the worst of the worst. These are Mujahideen, Taliban, Al Qaeda. And actually, if you look it up, I can send you the link. So Camp Bucca was actually the birthplace of ISIS, because what happened, yeah, in the great wisdom of the U.S. government, they thought that having all of these individuals from different types of terrorist organizations mixed together was a good idea, and that's how they created ISIS. Is that it was just basically it was a free network.
Yeah, let me ask you this too, because that can be like an indoctrination on the prison system. Like, if you look at prison, we put the worst of the worst, and they're all there together, and they commingle, and then a lot of times the bonds that are formed in these prison systems spills over out into the real world. So I mean, it's a yeah. double-edged sword. Like, at one point you want to keep these bad people out of civilization, but like all they're doing is networking and getting stronger, and they figure out where they fucked up, because they're just talking to other prisoners and like, oh well, this is how I got caught, and this is how I got caught, and they just become better criminals.
How do you spell
yep.
Bucca?
Bucca.
So let me ask you this: when you watch a movie and it shows us when we've got the camel guys down there, and do y'all really blare like Van Halen music loud all day, 24/7
Five Finger
at
Death
them
Punch
and stuff like that, or is that just
at the
like when they're trying to interrogate them and shit,
system.
or is that just TV shit?
That's just TV shit.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, but there was a guy. He wasn't part of our unit, but there was somebody that grabbed the megaphone that you could, the handheld megaphone, and he started singing the national anthem in the middle of their prayer. So that
yeah.
And remember, they pray 5 times a day.
When it's sunrise, sunset, and
sunrise, and then like middle of the day, and then there's like 3 other times. And so sometimes if you're hanging out with them all day, you'll see them pray all the time. And then you watch them separate too, because you got Sunnis and Shias mixed together, which is not a good idea.
They don't jive.
This is what's interesting. I pull up Camp Bucca on Wikipedia, and the first thing it talks about is abuse in the prison system. Fuck them fuckers. They're trying to kill our guys, and we're worried about cut their fucking legs off. I don't care. I'm tired of we kissing everybody's ass all the time, and we damn sure shouldn't be kissing a damn ISIS guy's asses. That's bullshit. Anyways, going to your point, that's the first thing it talks about is how we abuse them, the prisoners.
Yeah. Well, so there was, when we got there was a lot of carryover from Abu Ghraib. So Abu Ghraib was not a good thing, and it was not a good image for the U.S. military in general, because what happened is that the U.S. military did not have a doctrine for prisoners. So we kind of just they hodgepodge stuff together, and that's why there was abuse, is because there was nothing to go off. There was nothing written down to how to handle detainees. So they had all that abuse at Abu Ghraib. And then so when we got there, it was so ingrained in us on how to treat these individuals in the prison system or the TIF, the theater internment facility. So we had to operate on what we called care, custody, and control. And I'm not going to lie to you. There was a detainee that actually got a laptop and an iPod because he was providing information of stuff that was going on in the prison. I'm not kidding you. That is
so
a true
he was
story.
given valuable enough information that he got a Laptop.
So he was kind of like a CI. He was a CI for sure. Confidential informant. So he was narking on everybody else. And then, but you got to remember, they're master manipulators. So they're manipulating their fellow prisoners. And then on top of it, they're manipulating U.S. Like they would be able to get information out of prison guards, like U.S. prison guards. Like there was one guy that was like there was another U.S. soldier that was just diarrhea of the mouth. And he shared so much about himself. By the end of his shift, his wife got a call from someone in Iraq that was going to threaten to kill his entire family.
Son of a bitch.
So like you had to just like kindly you got to shut the fuck up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
There'll be some soldier giving his ex-wife's name out.
Social security number and everything.
Right.
My ex-wife, she's a real bitch.
So
Let me see where she lives.
My job there was in the internment holding area. So we actually outprocessed well over 7,000 detainees in a 3-month period. So my job specifically in this holding area was to uncuff them. So I actually have a Army Achievement Medal, which actually means nothing now. But I actually uncuffed over 7,000 detainees. So I went hands-on with 7,000 detainees in a 3-month period. So these were the worst of the worst. They would carry their Quran as a way of fucking with you because you're actually not allowed to touch the Quran. And we had to follow the Geneva Convention rules and stuff like that. So I'd have to figure out a way to take their cuffs off without touching their Quran. If I touched it, they get all mad. They would do this like thing like that, kind of like you're doing something wrong. So then we got smart and we just brought a table and we made them put the Quran on the table. So we didn't have to, deal with that.
So let me ask you this: is there anything in the Geneva Convention that protects Christians, and if they were holding their Bible?
So no. I have no idea. I couldn't answer that. But there was Christians that I dealt with, and they were actually segregated from these other sects. So you had the Sunnis and the Shiites, and there was a Christian actually that got his eyeball ripped out by one of these groups because he didn't convert to Islam. So it's a nasty place, man.
Did you ever see any Americans? Because for a while there, we had heard of like Americans that were going over there to join ISIS and this. Did you ever see any Americans that had gone over there and gotten tangled up?
No, there was this Iraqi that was like, he was a white dude for sure. Like he reminded me of like Robin Williams. Like that's how white he was. And I was like, that guy's a CIA operative. There's no way he's Iraqi. Like, but sure as shit, he was 100% Iraqi. I was just like, I always stare at him. I'm just like, he looked like a 8th grade science teacher. You know what I mean? From back home. Yeah. It's just like, no, he's Iraqi.
I guess he was like Russian or something like that from a long time ago, maybe. I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. He was like 40 or 50 years old. So I couldn't tell you.
What's crazy about that is though, ISIS will pull, or whoever the hell they are, they're going to pull anything they can to make sure we don't do anything to harm them. Don't touch my Quran. Don't do this. Don't do that. The same time, these same fucking people are putting people in cages and setting them on fire. Mm-hmm. They don't have any respect for the Christians or anybody else. It just amazes me. It's like if you're gay in Saudi Arabia, they're going to throw you off of a fucking building. Those people don't care about nobody but themselves and the way they do it. But they'll use the system to make sure they're not disrespected on their crap. I think our prisons have to have a special fucking meal for Muslims now. Bread and water.
Yeah,
should hit the marks for everybody.
We weren't allowed to give them food. It had to come from a Muslim. We couldn't give them the food because otherwise it would be considered like spoiled or tainted because I'm not a Muslim. So we had someone else give them the food. Then that's just a true story. But a lot of the issues that I have post service is from those 7,000 detainees. I mean, just they wanted to kill me. They wanted to chop my head off. I had pee and shit thrown at me and spread on me, and I had to search their bodies for contraband. I found so contraband, it could be anything, weapons or non-weapons. So the searches got so in depth. I found so if they're not allowed to have a watch, only one person's allowed to have a watch. So I wear a watch. They would wrap it around their dick because they don't think that we were going to search there. So we would actually search everywhere. We would make them spread their cheeks, everything. And so I found a cock watch, is what we call it, a cock watch. And so It's a true story. It's absolutely true.
I would have to have, I'd have to get my kids watch from Walmart.
I was thinking I need a little Mickey Mouse Timex.
Couldn't get a Rolex or a Fossil on.
I'm a grower, not a shower.
Yeah. So we know that the all the contraband was coming in from the Iraqi correction officers. They were pretty flawed, and we knew that they were bringing shit into these detainees. So we had to counter it somehow. But then if I wasn't in the prison, I was on the facility engineer team. So I actually was in college 2 years prior to this deployment for welding, maintenance and fabrication, and robotic welding and pipe welding. So I actually got to be on an engineer team, and we built things. We built a water tower. We built gates. We built a school. We repaired stuff. And I was an infantry guy. Like I was like, this is a non-typical infantry mission. And I actually really liked it. Like, believe it or not, this is actually pretty cool. And I think the biggest thing in the veteran community, especially vets, is like, I'm going to tell you both guys right now, it's like, when I meet other vets, I love helping vets. This is what I dedicated the last 15 years of my life to do, is helping vets in the state of Wisconsin and throughout the country. But I'll tell people all the time, I don't care what you did or didn't do in the military. All I care about is how are you using that experience to help your friends, family, community, and yourself. You'll get all these vets that will be puffy chested. I did this and blah, blah, blah. Like, you see that ring? Right. I threw 15 touchdowns, 1987. Yeah, nobody really cares, bro. Right. Nobody really cares. And I absolutely love my vets, and it's been a lifelong passion.
So you were basically the first point of contact for these prisoners in the prison system. I mean, you were the first one that they were greeted by.
Yeah, I was the first one that was greeted by in the internment holding area, because that's where when they were getting ready to leave Bucca, because we were shutting down Bucca, and they would come to me and I'd take their cuffs off. So I had to learn slang Arabic and introduce myself and build rapport the best I can with a terrorist. Yes.
And then when you look at them, what is it that you see? Do you see just pure hatred on their end, or do you see where the fuck am I right now? Combination of everything. Like what is it that you see?
Everything. Pure hatred. So most of them wore yellow jumpsuits. Yellow was basically Gen Pop, right? If they had a green jumpsuit, that was segregation, and then if they had an orange jumpsuit, that was death row. So they all kind of were mismatched. I got one guy that came up to me. He was a Christian in segregation, because if you were a Christian, they had to segregate you. Otherwise, they would kill you. And he came up to me and he's like, they would call you chief or sergeant. So they come up to you and be like, chief, sergeant. Are you Christian? You know what I mean? And I'd just be like, no, I believe in voodoo. And he got all weird and he kind of walked off. So, but I mean, you have to they're going to give it to you. So you have to kind of give it back just slightly more, so. But they always look perplexed. They always played dumb. Actually, I met Saddam Hussein's cousin, Chemical Ali. Chemical Ali, if you look up Chemical Ali, he bombed the Kurds back in the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was, and killed 70,000 men, women, and children with chemical weapons. So he came through my line, and I'm like, man, he looks familiar. And then my platoon sergeant comes up to me and shows me the deck of cards. Forgive me, I don't remember what card he was, but he was on there. I'm like, no shit, that's Saddam Hussein's cousin. And then he ended up dying. They actually killed him. They executed him like January, right before I think they executed Saddam.
Would they perform these executions at this place, or would they have to go to another facility to perform the execution? Yeah,
I couldn't tell you. I think all that stuff was off-site, blacklisted site, and the U.S. government will tell you that all those executions were done by the Iraqi government, not the U.S. government, from what I remember.
But if they had a certain colored jumpsuit on, you knew they were destined for hanging? That's how they killed Saddam. How'd they kill other people? Was it
I would assume hanging. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I wasn't privy to that kind of stuff. But there was court, though. There was a court on Bucca. So they would try these individuals with an Iraqi judge and stuff like that. So I didn't get to sit in the courtrooms, but they were tried. So it was all real.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, you got to have a set of balls to be a judge or a prosecutor in a third world country to execute the ex-leaders of that place. Because you know damn well you've got a target on your ass anyways, because there's a lot of people. I bet you right now you could go and there's still people that would support Hussein if he was in power again.
He was a great he was a great leader for half of the Muslim population, wasn't he?
Well, they loved him.
Yeah, he was. It was a fear-based ideology,
right?
So if you didn't support him, they would kill you. You got to remember the Ba'ath Party was his party. So the Ba'ath Party was a regime, and if you didn't support him, if you spoke ill, they would just execute you. That's why Iraqis are afraid of handguns, because they would execute everybody with a handgun. And so that's that. So when U.S. soldiers would walk around and they had handguns, they would respect you because they were afraid of handguns.
Really?
So the Ba'ath Party was brutal, absolutely brutal. Not a lot of people, like our interrogators, they absolutely straight up hated Saddam. A lot of them had family members killed and murdered from him, and it was just he wasn't a very nice person. So I'm glad that we got rid of him.
I wonder if the standard print for running a Muslim country would be like Daha, what do they call it? The one that's got all the money right now, where everybody goes there. God dang it! God, I can't think of the damn name of the where they freaks have the big golf tournaments, where they have the golf tournament and stuff. Daha.
What the fuck?
What the fuck am I trying to think of? It's where the biggest buildings in the world are there. They made the islands. Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi. What the hell was I trying to say? Daha. Yeah, it's Abu Dhabi. I'm getting old, I guess. Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia. Both places have tons of oil, tons of money. The United States government protects them, but I don't think they're real shitholes to live in. I've never been over there. And I'm sure there's some shitty neighborhoods, but it seems like the quality of life is pretty good over there.
They say the most I've never been there, but one of my buddy's sisters, she actually lived there for like 10 years. She used to run like the Texas Roadhouse in Abu Dhabi. So the most common car driven there are Lamborghinis and Ferraris.
Yeah. That's the Texas Roadhouse, so they have good bread and cinnamon butter there. And their salads are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and fish, because you got to remember some of the beef and stuff like that is religious stuff too, and pork too.
Yeah, they can't have pork over there.
Nope.
No pork. It's
no pork.
Unclean. Did you ever run into anybody that had any interactions with Saddam Hussein? Any of your fellow soldiers? Did any of them talk like what he was like on a one-on-one level?
Not fellow soldiers, just detainees and our interpreters. And I actually met one of his generals. He came through my line. I found a letter of jihad in his pocket. He wrote a letter about how he wants to kill all the Americans on base, and then so we had to separate him from the pack. And he actually had it sewn in between a blanket. So we took the blanket and we put it up to the light all, the generated light. We held the blanket up, and you can see a letter in between the fabric, and we had it translated right there on the spot, because we had like interpreters that worked for the State Department and other government agencies, and they're just like, yeah, this guy wants to kill Americans. And be like, oh well, great, we should probably put him somewhere.
Why do they write it down? Why do they have to have a letter?
You gotta have that terrorist clout.
Is that like flexing over here? Is that like an Instagram post or something over here to like virtue signaling? Is that what it is? You gotta write it down. If it's not written down, it's not real. What the fuck?
It was 2009, man. Twitter wasn't really a big thing in 2009, right?
Doesn't make any sense. Like you're just asking for shit. You're coming your way whenever somebody finally finds that.
Though they don't care because that's a code of honor to them to be put to death. I mean, that's what they want. They want to be down.
Do you think that there will ever be peace over there?
When the world ends?
I don't. I think that question is loaded. Respectfully, I think, is there going to be peace in general around the world? You know what I mean?
No. There never has been.
And no, there's never has been. And obviously, I'm not a war junkie. I don't think war is a good thing in any stretch of the imagination. I mean, what's going on in Ukraine and right now, and now that I'm a dad, I wasn't a dad back then, and I was kind of I was too close to the trees to see the forest as a human. And now that I'm a dad and I look at all these things that are going on, it's just war is not war is not necessarily a good thing. Is it necessary at times? I think that's subjective. But sometimes, we're always going to need people to pull triggers straight and to the point. And I have a lot of really good friends that were, up there on the tip of the spear doing that kind of work. And I was just a Army National Guardsman from Waterford, Wisconsin, in the prisons, face to face with some of the most nastiest people that have ever walked this earth. And, I believe that, I hope, I don't think hope is a bad thing, but it'd be nice to kind of just go through life without having to worry about people in a bully. I don't like bullies. So,
but what is it over there? Why do they hate us? Why do they hate just everybody else so much?
The religion teaches them that.
Is it Islam?
It's Sharia law. Yeah, it's Sharia law. Yeah, Sharia law.
It just teaches hatred of the Sunnis and the Shiites are always going to be fighting one another, and they hate the Americans.
They hate Christians. Their Bible teaches you to kill your enemies.
Have you read their Bible?
A little bit of it I have.
You read that part?
Yes. It said right there, it said, Jeff, listen, read right here, fat ass.
Okay.
Muslims
I'm just making sure that you're not.
I read a book on the history of the Quran, and I read it. Gary Schnabel, a pastor in town, gave it to me, and it was pretty fascinating. But their Bible, their beliefs is that you're supposed to kill your enemy, or our beliefs are you're supposed to forgive your enemy. If you want to get rid of the problems over there, what you need to do is supply them with nuclear weapons. But here's the deal. A nuclear weapon that'll only shoot a mile. And eventually they will just blow each other all to hell and it will all go away. But they are never going to be a peaceful place. And as long as we have people in our country and other countries that supposedly are Christian nations that have guys that can send someone else to do their dirty work, we'll be the same way because we're going to be battling things we don't really need to fight. And I think in history, 1,000 years from now, we're going to find out that most all the conflicts the United States have been in since World War II, we were covering for someone's ass in the government that was doing something shady. And I really believe that.
Long-winded, Jeff.
Well, that's the way I feel about things. I feel sorry for our soldiers. I appreciate everything you've done for us. But it's boys like you, and you're not a boy no more, but you know what I mean? When you were a young man, they send you off to do a dirty job and a dirty deal that we didn't have to do. And it's horrible because everything we do to fix over there gets, as soon as we leave, it turns to shit. I saw Afghanistan yesterday. Now all the women have to be covered up 100% again.
Well, yeah, that's Sharia law,
exactly.
101. I agree with what you said about it was a kind of war is a dirty deal, but most of my friends, I don't know a single fellow vet that wouldn't tell you that they wouldn't do it again.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat. And it's a product of opportunity. I don't think people fully understand that. When you join the military, you don't get to choose where you go and how you do it and your mission. It's all a product of opportunity. Obviously, I joined the military as an infantry guy to bring the fight to the enemy and shoot people in the face, and that's not what I did overseas. I had a different mission, and I'm okay with that. I actually have a really good friend that was a Delta operator that was actually there the night they caught Saddam Hussein.
Really?
Very good friend. Yeah. So
he was hiding in a hole. Wasn't he?
He was hiding in a hole, and the way that they caught him was just bananas. But yeah, I mean, it's a very perplexing situation, and it's 13 years behind me, and I just take everything that I learned from there and I try to apply it to everything I'm doing now. So.
Isn't that something? You look at all these great dictators and masterminds of destruction, Saddam Hussein, and you look at Hitler, and they had thousands of people. They're responsible. Hitler, millions of people died under his regime. Hundreds of thousands under Saddam, and they were all hiding in a hole when their end eventually came. Hitler up there, and whether they think he shot himself in the basement, I guess, or took a poison pill, and Saddam was hiding in a hole. They didn't even have the fucking courage to stand up and fight, but yet they would. They're agents of destruction.
Drug cartel guys the same way. The end result's the same.
But they're all hiding.
Yeah.
But they had all these people. They had all this bloodshed, and they didn't even have the sack to stand up and fight when it was their turn to pick up a weapon. It's interesting to me.
They're cowards. Most all of them.
I wonder what the last great dictator was that.
Probably Genghis Khan or somebody like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So, what was it that led to your PTSD? Was it the things that you saw in the prison system? Was it the things that you saw yourself having to do? What was the issue specifically?
Yeah, it's the repetitiveness of just being hands-on with over 7,000 detainees and the just touching them, physically touching them over and over again. Think about that. 7,000. I've seen enough Iraqi ballsack and butthole to last me a lifetime. You know what I mean? Or terrorist ballsack and stuff like that. So it's being told that they're going to kill me and chop my head off, and the exposure to everything. Sometimes, I live in the middle of BFE, Wisconsin. So, I got farm fields and it gets hot. So Iraq smells like a dumpster, straight up like a dumpster, like a landfill. So sometimes I get that whiff, and I have a landfill probably 15 minutes away from me in Appleton. So, there's sometimes there is deja vu. There's, sometimes I get back into that mind frame. I smell things. Diesel is a nasty, nasty smell for me.
Just because the Humvees and stuff ran on it?
Well, yeah, that and so on Camp Bucca, there was only one hardball road. So we call hardball a paved road. Right. There was only one paved road on the entire base, and that was the PT track. So it was basically a mile long, and that's where the convoys would come in. So you'd run past all of the MRAPs and the Humvees and all the tanks, or not tanks, but mine-resistant vehicles and stuff like that. So or the semis. So you'd inhale all that. So people wonder, why do you have such bad lungs? I wonder why. Yeah, and then don't forget the incinerator that was right there too. And our compound where I worked at was right next to the incinerator. So they burned pretty much everything on base in the incinerator. So it's all of that mixed into one. It's not just specifically the prison. It's everything boiled up into one inside of me. So it's taken me. What are we at? 2022, and I got home, and so it's taken me 12 years to get to a point where, I can accept the fact that I have to go to the grocery store, and not like physically be ill from it. So, even though now my girlfriend kind of goes shopping for me now, so yeah.
So you would just work yourself up into this panic state, knowing like, fuck, I got to go to the grocery store. I
need food.
I got to get groceries.
I would actually go early in the morning.
Just nobody there.
Yeah, I'd like 6:30, 7 a.m., or I'd go later at night, probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Sometimes I had to go in the middle of the day, whether it was like a cookout, I'd go with a buddy. And you got to remember, I was in college 8.5 years. So I did 2 years before Iraq, and I did 6.5 years after I got home from Iraq. So I always had someone around me, usually. But it was, yeah. And I don't go to concerts. I tried going to concerts. When I got home, I went to Five Finger Death Punch. That was a horrible idea, by the way. That was an absolute horrible idea. Or I went to Korn concert. I don't go to concerts anymore. I just they stress me out to the max. You want to see me absolutely just frustrated with life? Take me to a concert.
What is it about the concert? Is it the loud music? Is it the crowds? Is it the flashing lights?
Crowds, 100% crowds. If you think about it, everywhere you go. What's on a person? On a person, what can hurt you on a person?
Well, yeah, and over there, it could be something.
Their hands,
right?
Their hands. So everywhere I go, you're always looking at hands, and looking at hands is not necessarily a veteran thing. It's more of just a situational awareness. Like you're just looking at hands. So if you're in a dark place with strobing lights and a lot of people, it's hard to kind of focus on all that. Mm-hmm. Plus, I don't really like drunk people. Drunk people are just the worst people to deal with.
Amen on that.
They are just beyond frustrating. So, and I have a career. I have a career. I have a daughter. I have things to look forward to. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I have to defend myself. And in society, defending yourself is equates to 10 years in prison for attempted murder. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're going to charge you with. Oh, you're a veteran with PTSD. Right. You're not allowed to defend yourself. You just need to sit there and just take the ass kicking.
Yeah.
So it's all about thinking 10 steps ahead. It sucks. It really does suck. It sucks. But
when did you realize that you had PTSD? Was it immediately as soon as you got home, or was it something that kind of built as you progressed into civilian life?
I want to say it was probably, I got home in end of January 2010. So March, April, May timeframe of 2010, that's when I started realizing that something isn't clicking. And first suicide attempt was in that time. Tried holding my breath under a pillow. That didn't work out very well.
Did you pass out?
And then almost. I started seeing spots when I opened my eyes. And then I went and got evaluated at the VA for everything. And then so right around that time, there was something going on.
And when you went to the VA, were they able to help you at all, or is this something that you figured out? Did you basically, did you find your own remedy through
pills, man?
Pills.
That's what they give you.
That's what they give you.
They just give you, they just be like, here you go, take this.
Yeah.
You should be. They gave me, since 2010, I was on, I stopped in like 2018, I think it was. So 8 years, I was on like 4 or 5 different types of anti-anxiety, depression meds, and then melatonin and generic Benadryl to go to sleep.
Has that fucked with your regular sleep cycle, the melatonin? Or or are you still taking melatonin?
No, I don't take, so back in 2018, really quick, kind of give you like a little bit of a Quentin Tarantino version of the story.
Sure.
We're going to jump back and forth here.
No, I like it.
I have dedicated my life to be staying active and working out a lot, as much as humanly possible, because that helps while hunting, right?
Sure.
So I actually, back in 2018, I stopped taking my VA meds, and I work out, and I actually feel 100% better. I take 3,000 IUs of vitamin D. I have a sleep app machine, and my sleep is, hit and miss with sleep app, but I'm getting more consistent sleep than I was with the melatonin. So the pills, they made me feel like a robot. I didn't feel happy. And it was just not a good thing for me.
Yeah, I've heard of that a lot with people that take a lot of these pills. They don't feel anything. They don't feel happy. They don't feel sad. They don't feel upset. They're at 65% at everything.
What is the actual pill?
Oh shit. I don't.
That's okay.
It was
That's okay.
One of them was called fluoxetine. I know that one. One of them was fluoxetine. So that was one.
And they had you on just
there was another
host of them.
Well, yeah, you couldn't mix them. So this was right in the middle and after there was a Marine Corps veteran that was given some pills and they mixed them and it killed him. And he was actually one of the scout snipers that peed on the Taliban's bodies. So if you remember that story, so he was actually, the VA actually prescribed the meds that shouldn't have been mixed. And that's what killed him from the report that I saw. So then now they have a system where you can't prescribe certain meds because it would mix and it would kill you. And a big old red screen would come down on the screen. So yeah, fluoxetine and something else. But yeah, there was a cocktail going on there. We call it the VA cocktail. And I've gone away from that and I'm in a way better headspace as of right now. So
I mean, what could they do differently? Because you see this so many times. People come home and then they get on this VA cocktail, and that just speeds up the downhill spiral. But at the same time, I wonder what percentage of people the pills actually help.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. And some people actually benefit from the VA and the medicine. I am more of a alternative, holistic type person that likes to, outdoor therapy, hunting therapy, archery therapy. I'll be honest with you. If I'm turkey hunting or if I'm duck hunting or whatever like that, and I'm sitting in a blind or whatever like that, and I'm shooting my gun and hanging out with the boys or ladies, I am the happiest I have ever been in my entire life. It's way happier than sitting in a room with some stranger talking about my feelings. And granted, here's the deal. That works for some people. Some people thrive from that, and that's great. Not me. That's not happening. Sorry. I bring the therapist with me duck hunting. We'll get some more shit done that way.
Well, I mean, you just see that with the pharmaceutical industry the way it is. You know, they're pill happy with everything. Oh, you're depressed, pill for this. You got the shits, pill for this. You're too excited. Here's a pill to bring you down a little bit.
The doctors
instead
get paid.
of just people just like you said, like work out in the morning, get out, get some sunlight, go for a walk in nature.
Yeah,
90% of you eat real fucking food. Get away from processed food.
Yeah,
like
go get a burrito, touch the grass.
Yeah,
get outside.
Just
yeah.
But like Jeff said, there's such an incentive on the part of the doctors to hand out these pills.
Yeah, you went to a doctor in the 70s, 50s, 30s, 20s. I don't know when, but when you went to a doctor back then, he actually cared about your health. I mean, he was a member of the country club. He was going to drink.
Relationship with you.
Yeah, but he knew you. You were, and I'm sure they were passing some pills to him at the times to try to push, but there wasn't an incentive. Like fluoxetine is Prozac is what that is. I looked it up. Prozac is probably owned by Pfizer, if I'm guessing.
Probably.
And Pfizer is paying a doctor. We'll give you $20 every time you subscribe or prescribe this medicine to somebody. They're charging $300 to an insurance company. So it's all, they don't care about the person. It's just something to control people. And that's what it's about. And you're right. Going to a duck blind or whatever you do, play golf, get outside, socialize, and get out of the fucking room. There is nothing worse than people being cooped up. And the pandemic has been horrible for people.
What has there been any research done as to what this pandemic and forced isolation has done to veterans that are fighting these battles?
So from what I heard, especially in my fellow vets that work in the the veteran suicide community, which I hate to even admit that there is a community like that, right. Which is awful. It was pretty detrimental for veterans in general. Not just, you got to look at holistically, you got to look at everybody in general, not just veterans. I mean, sure. The pandemic was brutal for everybody. Yeah. But if you take away the subsects of society, looking at veterans, you're looking at teachers, you're looking at, people that are always out and about. It was pretty bad for a lot of people, people probably turned into introverts real quick. You know what I mean? And, so yeah, it was, I don't know statistics. I don't know. Right. I don't have any data for you, but from what I heard, it was pretty bad. And they had to take it pretty seriously. So,
these are people that have got real problems. We're talking about the veterans. Look what it's done to the kids. They showed a study the other day of kids that are like under 4 years old. There's a big portion of those children in the big cities that have never been around any other kids. They were a year old when it happened. So for 2 years they were locked down. They haven't been to kids' birthday parties, any of the social stuff that kids have. So it's been horrible for our whole system, but especially you got these people that get locked in a freaking room. People need to get out and get about. And I wonder if, I know there's been studies done, but the guys that come back from World War II, war is the same. Whether you were in Iraq, Afghanistan, or you were at the Battle of the Bulge, you went through the same kind of shit, or in a foxhole in the trenches in World War I. What the difference is on how much more suicide and problems we had after the Desert Storm Wars as opposed to World War II. I wonder, because back then people just had to go back and go to work. They didn't have all the programs set up. And I'm wondering if it wasn't better for people to have to get into society and start being around people more.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where the trend kind of veered hard left on this stuff. It's upsetting, and if you I hate to use this analogy, but it kind of fits, is that, we have these men and women that serve our country in many various capacities, and they do many different things. Everyone's different. Everyone's story is different. And, they leave the mill, and they're given their discharge paperwork, and they get a week-long course on how to transition and how to find a job, which is straight trash. But then they go off into the world and they're on their own. But then yet we have former felons and convicts that have probation and parole officers that check in on them. Okay. So in a way that they're case managed, whereas veterans aren't even case managed. So it's kind of I understand why. I was in the law enforcement field for like a minute, and I understand why they're case managed because they have to. It's a court ordered thing, but I don't understand why. Hey, maybe we should take a little bit more, below surface level approach to making sure our men and women are, hey, been set out 6 months. You in college, you working XYZ. They're trying to roll something out. I think it's called ETS. I don't know what it stands for. I've read into it. I think it's trash because anybody could be an ETS person to help veterans. You don't even have to be a veteran. Anybody could do it. But the problem is, like, what are your problems? Like, and if you're a veteran, are you going to reflect your problems onto this other person that's getting out of the military? So there is a slew of holes in this program. So I can go off on a tangent on that one, but I don't want to put you guys to sleep.
No, I would like to see our politicians stand up and say, hey, instead of asking for $33 billion to funnel some money to Ukraine so we can wash it and send it back over here to our politicians, let's take $5 billion. Let's give it to the VA. Let's let us start paying these doctors that are leaving the military and pay them to help the people at the hospitals and give us top-notch surgeons.
I agree. Jeff, I 100% agree with you, but I forgot what hospital it was. It was a newer VA. You can look it up. I think they spent an astronomical amount of money on artwork for the main lobby.
That's bullshit. Right. See,
look. You can probably Google it. Look up like VA artwork costs, maybe, or something. Google that or something. Like, be real generic in what you search. But they spent a stupid amount of money on stuff for the lobby, and it was like $33,000 for some stupid painting or whatever like that. It was bad.
No, more than that. $20 million.
See, I butchered it. Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
There's another one. Another one spent $6.3 million.
They need to hire Andy's wife to take care of that because she's good with money. And you need to have somebody like that that's over it and says, whoa, we're supposed to be helping the veterans here. It's not worried about a damn. You can go down to a damn flea market and buy some art to put up. Hell, you can put Terry Redland prints up there and spend a lot less money and have shit people want to look at.
But that's the problem with. This might sound crude, but a lot of these organizations are mismanaged, and it all gets funneled back to the same set of hands.
Yes, somebody that's a politician has got a kid that's in the art business that probably had a big commission on this deal. It's probably exactly how it worked out. The Kennedy Center is a perfect example. Every time there's a stimulus money, the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. is included. I don't give two fucks if the people in Washington, D.C. get to go to a fucking concert and see Billy Joel. Could care less. But they give them money all the time. Guess who the VA gives donations to? The Democratic Party. So, see, it's bullshit the way it goes. But that's too bad because we need to fix the VAs. And let's spend them billions of dollars at our VA, and let's give our soldiers the best medical care that you can get anywhere. And there's no reason why we can't do that.
I would prefer being able to go to a private doctor.
Sure.
And just keep the VA hospitals. Yeah. Keep them. I think they do serve a purpose, and there are good people. The thing is, like, we can't vilify everybody at the VA.
Exactly.
But I think as a whole, there are giant holes in the VA. But I would much rather see, you got to remember, there's veterans that live in very rural areas of this country, and they have to drive sometimes 2 or 3 plus hours just to go to one way to the VA. And I think that's unacceptable. So I think what we need to do is we need to privatize VA healthcare and allow them to go to their local hospitals or their local caregivers and improve that quality of life, because the quality of life for some veterans is absolute dog shit.
Yep.
And I've traveled the entire state of Wisconsin many times over. I have been to veterans houses that live in really nice houses, and I've been to veterans that live in trailer parks with giant holes in the wall, and they answer the door with a shotgun, wondering what the fuck you're doing there. You know what I mean? So we have to change something. There is the Accountability Act of the VA, and that started getting rid of people from the top down, not the bottom up. And so that's just kind of my 2 cents about the VA.
What does it take to get to go to a private doctor? Because out here, if someone in Knox City is a veteran and they had to go to the VA, they have to go to Big Spring, which is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And that's the nearest.
Yeah, so the VA has they have community care. So community care is you can go to a private doctor. So so my appointment today at 11 ish. I mean, I can always swing it, but it's with a chiropractor. So it's a private family owned chiropractor, And I just tell the VA, hey, and I live in a not so good area and there's no chiropractor around. So they'll pay a private physician for chiropractic for me. Same thing with mental health. Because of my positions I've had with the state and the federal government when I worked for the Pentagon, I can't be seen at the VA because of conflict of interest, because I've worked with them on other cases with veterans. So that's why there's a conflict of interest of me going to the VA for mental health services. So I get to go to a private facility, which is better. And there's really good coffee.
So what did you do? We'll start wrapping up because we're getting close to 11. What did you do for the Pentagon?
So I worked for a program called Citizen Soldier for Life. It was a program for National Guard veterans and families with employment services specifically, and transitioning. Then this was after I worked for the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs. I worked in a program called the Veteran Outreach and Recovery Program, and that was traveling my 7 counties and most of the rest of the state, helping veterans that are homeless with diagnosed mental illness, and they lived in rural areas, and bringing them services and being familiar with all the programs and services in the state of Wisconsin, and being familiar with what programs would accept veterans depending on their discharge. A lot of people think veterans are eligible for all the programs in the world, but their discharge will determine what they're eligible for. So knowing what programs will take other than honorable discharge or under honorable conditions or a general discharge. We have a veteran right now in the local area that's been on tons of hunts, and she has an uncharacterized entry-level discharge, and that's actually technically under state law. She's not a veteran.
What does that mean?
So
I don't understand.
Yes. So uncharacterized entry-level discharge means that they didn't finish basic training. Huh. They only serve 62. They only serve, however long, and they get discharged before graduating basic training. But because they have a DD 214, the VA looks at them as a veteran.
So
they get a veteran card.
Is she fleecing these people then?
Oh, this is all brand new stuff, man. I'm only 3 days into this one. So, yeah.
So she didn't even go through basic training. She's going on all these hunts that are designated for veterans. She's pretending to be a veteran, but she didn't even make it. She was washed out of basic training. I should not have asked you this question with 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah, man, this is more of like an off-show conversation, right, where we're dealing with this. We're dealing with it right now. Actually, this is all within the last couple of days. We're figuring this out, and she's been doing this for 20 years.
Oh,
this shit goes on all the time, though. That's why guys like me, and this sounds horrible, I get calls from organizations all the time for. I'll just use the word Wounded Warrior because that's the main name everybody knows about. But there's 1,000 foundations like that. And it really stinks when you hear about stuff like this because then it makes you wonder how many good guys are getting left out of getting to do something to help them because of someone like her scammed someone and they don't want no part of it anymore. Yeah. And that's the sad thing about the whole deal.
Stolen valor is a very common thing in our veteran community. And if you receive any tangible benefit, it's a felony. The thing is, the Supreme Court ruled that freedom of speech is freedom of speech. So anybody could go around telling that they're a veteran and stuff like that. They ruled on it, but if they receive anything, a cup of coffee, right, anything, it is a felony. I actually, if you guys Google it, unfortunately, I hate this story, but back in 2015, I was actually kicked out of school because I called out a stolen valor guy in grad school. So if you look up my name, Ryan Lonegran, George Williams College, I was kicked out of school because the guy was going around college telling he was in the Marine Corps. And I was kicked out of grad school for 2 weeks. This is all public knowledge. I have all of the paperwork. And so they punished me because I said something to him in the cafeteria. And I was actually really nice about it. Like, people defended me. And it's such a ass-backwards situation. But I love veterans. I love helping them. And I love what you guys are doing. And I love hunting. It's just you look at where you were 10 years ago in life, and I look at where I'm at now. I'm in such a better position, my friends tell me, of influence and in purpose. And that's what I'm kind of all about, is trying to get people into the outdoors and giving back,
So my last question for you, has helping other people assisted in your recovery? Were you still fighting demons and battles before this was laid on you?
Yeah. Every day, I'm pushing a boulder up a hill, I guess is the best way to put it. There's some type of boulder that people are pushing up a hill. So there's demons every day. I have my good days and I have my bad days. But making an impact. I don't care what the impact is. Like I full time right now I work for a nonprofit and I write resumes for veterans and I help them get jobs. Right now I'm sitting at 34 hires for the year right now. I've gotten 34 veterans jobs or active service members jobs. Last year was like 90 something. And they'll call me up and they'll just be like, hey, Ryan, thanks so much for helping me out with that resume, or thanks for helping me with that interview, or whatever it is. Or, hey, Ryan, thanks for helping me find funding for a car battery for my car. It's those small things. It's those small little details that are helping impact that quality of life. Because if you think about it, not having a battery or not having a resume could be the reason to a man or woman veteran killing themselves. And if I have the ability and the experience and the knowledge to prevent that, then I'm going to do that, because I don't think the small things should be the downfall of an individual. There's incredible humans out there doing incredible work, and sometimes we fall in hard times. And I have built such a great network that if I can change the ecosystem in which we live in, even if it's I hate to say it, sometimes it is money, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's just being there to listen. We have 2 ears and one mouth, so that means we need to listen twice as much as we talk, and I don't think we're doing that. Well,
listen, we really appreciate your time. We're right at 11 o'clock, so you gotta get out of here. You gotta go get your back cracked and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
If there's anything we could ever do for you in the future, please don't hesitate to ask. And it's been we'd love to have you on and talk to you a little bit more about you getting kicked out of grad school.
Yeah, I would love to. We should probably try to do like a swap cast on my podcast. We try to interview each other on both on the same platform. So
I don't
think
awesome. Our story's near as good as yours. I can tell you that much. We appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day, and thank you for what you do for our veterans, and thank you for your time you did for us being a veteran.
You guys are all worth it. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Wisconsin has got a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
And Dan Reese is not one of them. All right.
I'm trying to cancel this out. There it goes. Yeah, Wisconsin's a great state. And let me tell you, if we go the next 120 days with it being in triple digits,
we're going to move to Wisconsin?
I might fucking relocate, because this is horrible.
If you could pick anywhere in the United States to move to, where would it be?
In the United States?
In the United States. Well, I wouldn't live anywhere else.
You wouldn't?
No.
You wouldn't go to Abu Dhabi?
No, hell no. I wouldn't go nowhere. Fuck no, it's hot here. It's real hot there. No, I would.
It rains every day over there, though. Cloud seeding.
I would not go anywhere else.
That's what's so interesting about COVID is, like, a lot of these places that people were like, oh, yeah, if I could move there, I would. And now it's like, oh, fuck, would you go to Australia now? Would you go to New Zealand?
I never wanted to go there anyways. New Zealand would have been pretty cool to see it, but no, I don't.
But, I mean, you think about, like, all these other places, to Americans, I understand.
Scotland is the only place I would like to go to.
Scotland is, I mean, it's fucking locked down. And
Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive.
I
I'm
think
pretty
you're
sure.
talking out of your ass.
No, I'm not. Hold on. Let me pull this up. But I'm pretty sure.
I think you get Russia. I think you're getting China locked down with Scotland. I don't know, but Scotland, the Highlands of Scotland, are one of the few places I would really. I don't know if I'd want to move there. I've never been there, but I would like to really see. The beaches in Normandy, I'd like to go to, but that's more historical. But the Highlands of Scotland look like a really interesting, cool place, and it's not real hot right now.
Because, I mean, I think they're playing by the same rules as, like, just the UK in general.
I didn't think the UK was on any rules. They're all opened up.
Let me see.
They opened up before we did. They took masks off airplanes and everything.
BBC. From 1 May, that's how they talk over there in Scotland. Public health advice is to stay at home if you feel unwell and have a fever. The health services.
Same thing they tell you here.
Same thing they tell you here.
I don't think they're on any kind of lockdowns at all. I think the only place in the world right now locked down is going to be California, New York City, and Shanghai.
That'll all ramp up whenever
October.
the midterms come around.
Democrats are desperate.
Lockdowns. I can't find anything.
I am
Maybe
a
not.
firm believer.
So, yeah, Scotland. Scotland would be the other place, but
that's where I would like to go. If I could live anywhere in the United States, I always say I would like to live on the East Coast, and I would. But the upper Midwest I would take.
Wisconsin would be.
Duluth, Minnesota, back to Green Bay, all along the upper banks of Lake Superior. I would like that.
Yeah. I don't know if I could handle the politics of the Northeast.
That's the only problem I wouldn't like. But when you get into them areas in Wisconsin, Wisconsin is a red state. somehow blue, but like everything else. But you get away from the big cities of Milwaukee, and everybody's the same. Same with Minnesota.
I wouldn't want to go west. I don't think I'd want to
Idaho,
go west.
Eastern Washington, Spokane, that area would be really nice.
I don't think I want to go west.
But
Go straight north.
I don't want to live in the mountains. Montana, I could live in. Alex Langbell's got a beautiful place where he's living now.
He does.
And I could handle that. But I do not want to. The Northeast, I absolutely love. It's beautiful, but them fucking liberal fuckers, I couldn't live with them, most of them. But I think if you get to small towns, it probably isn't that bad.
But I don't know if they're like liberal in the sense that they're not liberal from any sort of experience. They're liberal because
their grandma was.
Because their grandma was.
Yes.
So they would be very Republican if they saw some of the shit that a lot of people have to put up with.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Because I mean, the population is mainly white.
Yeah, that's what's funny is they're for everything in the world, and they're all white people.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
they've never been exposed.
They haven't had this. They don't see crime.
Did you see the two black ladies that went in the Eckards or somewhere and basted down with stealing all the drugs out of the deal?
Mm-mm. I did see Louis Vuitton got looted.
I don't understand how a store owner keeps from shooting the shit out of them people.
Probably because he doesn't want to go to jail for 50 years.
And that's bullshit. They're stealing from you. You got to have the right to defend your property.
What did they do to that guy in L.A. during the L.A. riots?
The Chinese guys?
Guy.
I don't think they did anything. But it was a different time. But everybody's a victim now. Your kid comes in and steals something, and then, well, he shouldn't be shot for that. Yeah, he should. Get a JOB. Well, I'm telling you right now, I feel sorry for my grandkids because the world that they're going to grow up in or they're going to live in as adults is 1,000 times worse than the world I grew up in as an adult because things are going downhill very, very fast. I mean, everybody asks for something all the time. People don't have any problem getting on Facebook or any social media and asking for money. And I'm not talking about for legit reasons. GoFundMe shut down and some people had an 8-year-old kid had cancer and they're raising. They took it down. But then they'll have some abortion deal that this abortion thing with these Supreme Court justices.
Now I've read that it was just a leak. It's not. They're not doing anything.
It's a leak of the document that he wrote already. I don't think they were going to release it for a while. I don't understand how that worked. My problem is going to these justices' houses and intimidating them.
Right.
Well, that's an insurrection as much as January 6th was. Somebody opened the doors on January 6th and let all them people in. It was a set-up deal. But that's the left side on everything. Well,
here's this. This is gonna shock you. I'll pull it up. This is according to the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration. So, they've been telling us all along that reversing Roe v. Wade is going to kill the poor minority, basically. They're not going to have adequate health care. And they also say that if your life is in danger, you should be able to get an abortion. Here are the statistics according to the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration from 2015. So it's 0.001 pregnancies resulted from incestuous relationship. So
we all know what incest is.
Yep. 0.065, the women's life was endangered. Let's see, 0.666, there was a serious fetal abnormality. The child wouldn't have been viable. 6%.
Poor people.
92.3%. It was an elective operation.
Fucking for fun.
0.085, the woman was raped. So, listen, I believe that if you are raped or if you've
1%.
Raped by your brother, less than 1%.
No. You add all those together, and you're going to be about 1%.
Oh, I see what you mean.
If you take the pregnancy results,
if you take
incest,
everything,
if
you take everything into account, other than being poor and just
99% of all abortions are an easy way out. Bottom line.
Well, not 99.
Yes, it is. 96.26 and 92. That's poor. That's the easy way out.
Yeah, but I don't know what.
How many fucking people have kids?
I don't know what kind of poor that is. Is that I'm living on the side of the street kind of poor, or is that
you shouldn't be having sex then?
Jeff, that's not
99
that doesn't help the conversation.
99% of the people that have abortions
are
taking it the easy way out. 1%, it shows.
Right.
1% of the abortions out there are legit that you really got to think about. But 99% of listen, if you're poor and you're getting an abortion because you're poor, put the kid up for adoption. Someone will adopt the baby.
I don't, Jeff. The adoption system, and you look at the trauma that induces. I don't know. Listen. I don't have an answer for any of this. I think that if I
don't think anybody does.
I think that if this is a decision that a woman has sought counsel for, and she really does not feel like she could be a good mother. But I don't feel like we should say, well, you shouldn't be having sex because everybody's having sex.
I understand that. That's just a
But here's the other thing. Contraception, it is not the fucking 1700s. It is very, very easy to go get on the pill. That's not difficult. And it doesn't cost any. If you're poor, the pill is free. If you go to Planned Parenthood, the pill's free.
Yeah.
It might be $1. I don't know. But contraception is very, very easy to come by. It is, I think you're just fucking lazy.
It's an easy way out. Now, let me ask you this.
But I'm not pretending like I have all the answers on this.
I don't think nobody does.
This is a very complex issue that should be thought about.
And it's a personal issue.
But if they turn back Roe v. Wade,
it's not going to be the end of the world.
It's up to the state, though. Is that right?
I don't know. How many people have a fucking abortion that we run into every day? These women are acting like they have an abortion every week.
Right.
I mean, they're just like, oh, my God, my life's over. I have an abortion. Tell them to wear a condom, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it just...
And I
don't have an answer.
I saw a liberal woman yesterday that said men shouldn't even have a right to do it. Well, hold on now. One deal you says that a man can be a woman. Now a man shouldn't even have a say-so on a woman having an abortion.
According to the World Health Organization, which, whatever... There are approximately 125,000 abortions per day.
In the United States or worldwide?
Let me look at this. This one.
It is a social issue that I don't think gay marriage, I don't think abortion, and I don't think transgender should be part of a presidential platform. I don't. I think it's just an excuse to get voters. And that's what this is all about. This leak is all about trying to get the Democrats, because they know they're in trouble, is they can play a social deal like,
that's the world.
Oh my gosh,
that's in the world.
Did you see the study by Harvard on the kids not being in schools?
No.
They released a study this morning. I read it on the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. I can't remember which one it was, that said kids that go to school that weren't out of school more than a couple of months, Texas and Florida are the states they use as example. The demographics and the race differences did not show that much difference between rich kids and poor kids. Right. The states like Illinois and California that have been shut down and locked down for 2 years and the kids hadn't been in class, there are still places that the kids are not going to school yet.
Right.
Those kids, they said, there's a huge split between the rich kids and the minority kids and the poor kids, or the minority split and the rich and the poor. I should make sure I say that right because that sounded racist. But those kids, they say there's a huge difference in the education that they've had. These kids are so far behind.
I believe it.
The blue states kids are way, way, way behind right now.
Let me find this. So this says abortion. The U.S. abortion rate continues to drop. Once again, state abortion restrictions are not the main driver. Abortion restrictions were not the main driver of decline in the United States of the abortion rate between 2011 and 2017. There's another thing that I saw. The number of abortions fell by 200,000, we'll call it. A 19% decline from 1 million abortions. What? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. A decline from 1 million abortions in 2011 to 850,000. It was a little bit over, but the abortion rate fell by 20%. So there was also a study that I had seen. So kids are not having sex as much as they used to.
Well, I told you kids are screwed up today.
Well, yeah, but they're not. If you look at teen pregnancy is just through the floor. There's more 30-year-olds that don't have children than there are 30-year-olds with children. So, once again, we're talking about a minority of the population that
So
would ever even,
birth rates are declining.
Oh, they're going through the floor. We're way below.
And teen pregnancy also.
We are the United States. Any civilized country, and this is what Elon has been preaching. We are way below replacement. Way below. In the United States, they said that in Japan, by the end of the century, Japan probably won't even be a country anymore. That's how far behind they are in their birth rate versus the death rate.
I wonder if Mexico is down.
I can look it up.
I would be curious to see a country like that that's population has exploded over the last, because they're Catholics.
Right, so they don't believe in allegedly.
They're in their third world country.
Is Mexico below replacement birth? We'll just do it at Google. What we appear to be seeing is a global convergence around fertility rates around 1.6 to 1.7 children. This is not just a rich world phenomenon. Birth rates in Mexico are around 1.9 and 2 kids per woman, so below the rate needed to sustain Mexico's current population.
So they're going down too.
They are also below. Everybody, you look worldwide, it's a worldwide trend. We are way below replacement.
I don't understand the teenagers not having sex anymore.
Video games, Jeff. AI.
I've never played a damn video game that was as good as having sex.
I mean, I don't know.
We had Frogger and Atari.
I'm trying to look because I shared.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Frogger don't equal up to boobies.
I shared an article not long ago, and I can't find. Oh, here it is, maybe. Okay, teen birth rate in the United States is at a record low, dropping below 18 births per 1,000 girls and women aging 15 to 19 for the first time since the government began collecting data. In 2018, the birth rate, so I'll try to pull this up.
So me thinking kids are being more responsible don't have nothing to do with it. They're just not having sex.
I don't. They don't know what is going on, but teen birth rate, here it is. Here's a chart. I really find this shit fascinating. Most people probably give a shit less. There's a teen birth rate right there.
Boy, it is way off since the 60s.
So baby boomers, 96% were to teen pregnancy.
Hold on right now. In that was 1958, 1950.
Call it 1960.
1960. A lot of these teen birth rate are 19-year-old and 18-year-old girls that were married.
I would understand that. I would go with that.
So that I would be interested to see unwed teen moms' pregnancies, how far it's on. But there's no doubt it's way, way, way down.
From 96% to 17.
Fuck, 61% in 1990 to 17 now. That's even a bigger fall.
But y'all are just going mad back then.
But there's a lot of hair bands playing, having big time concerts back then.
That was also AIDS, wasn't it? Around that time.
If you were having sex with women, you weren't really worried. I can honestly tell you, I never went out and thought, man.
When did Magic Johnson contract AIDS?
Probably 1990.
So right around that time.
1990, 92.
There was a lot more. Well, I wonder what happened right there socially. That everybody, because I know what happened here.
Maybe you're proving you weren't having AIDS, so you
the birth control. The birth control right here kind of got invented, and the hippie movement started, so everybody started fucking one another. So that's why you kind of see that little uptick there.
I don't understand
and
why.
In the 70s, right there, women quit shaving their armpits, and we got Woodstock and everything, so you got a little uptick right there. But I wonder what happened right there in 1992-ish. And then we had another one about the time that I graduated in 2006, 2010. But since then, it's just...
That is crazy. 96 percentile in 1960 to 17% now. God almighty. I'll tell you what the problem is. I just figured out what's wrong with the world right now. All the smart people quit having fucking kids.
Yes,
that's the problem. Is that all the fucking Democrats have been banging away like crazy. They're out fucking us. That's the problem.
Well, and if you look at that, so like I said, more 30-year-olds do not have children than 30-year-olds have children. So parents are fucking tired by the time they have a kid.
How old are you?
34.
Okay, we ate dinner at your house last night.
Yeah.
Your boys are pretty active.
Very active.
Could you imagine if y'all had a couple more?
No. But, you talk about how great this generation was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Parents were also fucking only 20 years old when they had a kid. They could go do all this shit. Well, I'm 35 and fucking tired.
Moms didn't work back then much.
Right.
Dad went to work. Mom took care of the household and the kids. Dad came home. He had dinner ready, and it was a pretty good life.
Yeah.
And they could make a good living without having to have two incomes. Then the women started working, and then things started going down because she's like, fuck, I ain't getting knocked up. I can make money working. And I'm sure that has got a little bit to do with it too.
Well, and that directly corresponds. They say you can predict how many children a woman will have based on her IQ level. The smarter women get, the less kids they have.
Your mom's got 3.
No, it's true. I mean, if you look at the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when women were not educated, they'd pop out 4 or 5 kids. It was not uncommon.
Philip Rivers' wife has 9. Is she dumb?
Probably dumb as a box. She probably can't even spell her name. Can't spell cat if you spot her with the C and the T.
You think about someone like them, though. I love kids.
Yeah.
I think it would be neat to have a big family like that. Now, when you can afford a family like that,
right?
The average person can't afford to have 2 kids. It breaks my heart to see people not be able to afford to do things because of how the cost of things in the world right now.
But what's funny is Blake. We were talking about this during hunting season, and Blake said they keep telling them that there's not going to be enough food for everybody because the population is just going to explode, and that's not at all what this is saying.
I don't.
Looking at those numbers, it might be easy to assume the human population will just keep expanding, but in reality, it's very different. Global average fertility rate have dropped by over half over the last 50 years, from 5 children per woman in 1968 to just 2.5 in 2017.
If I've learned anything from the pandemic, it's that we need to start going back to made in America. It's the biggest problem in the world right now is everybody's relying on China and they're shut down again.
Right.
That's the issue. We need to start making stuff in America, pay a little bit more money, have it made in America, everybody be better off. That's what we need to go to. All right, let's get out of here. We got to get off of here anyways.
We got to get out of here anyways. It's fucking hot. I'm sweating.
God bless y'all. Have a great week.
Bye-bye. Go check out all of our wonderful sponsors. Go check out Lucky Duck. Check out Dirty Duck Coffee, the Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Gundog Outdoors, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Bangtail Whiskey, Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear Waders, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, and Alpha Outdoors.